Thanks everyone for joining in the live room. We'll be sure to field answer any comments or questions that you guys have, or mention them live for everybody. All right, this is your host Wind. We're looking at another feature presentation. The date today is June 9th, year 6. We're looking at the age 95 changes and getting some feedback from the community on them. So be sure, if you're listening to this, to jump in to the channel on Discord and give us your thoughts, or DM one of us directly and we can voice it for you. Alternatively, like I said, raise your hand and you can chat yourself. So today I'm joined with my current guests and all of our live guests currently in the Discord channel. Thank you for joining me, FFW and Benji. How are you guys doing today?
Man, good. I'm complain.
It's a lazy Sunday, Win.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sleepy. I want to go back to bed, so if you don't mind, hurry it along.
Yeah,
I waited an hour plus for this, so.
Whoa. Listen to this guy over here. First he's asking for more time, now he's saying it's not soon enough. All right, I get you. I totally get you. Trust me, I was awake at some ridiculous time this morning, and it was too early for work, to be honest, and I just have to go back to work tomorrow morning. So yeah, let's get this thing over and done with. But I know this is important stuff for the community. So again, I want to just stress to everybody that listens to these things or participates in the forums or in Discord and asks for changes and wants things changed, this is the best way to get things changed, is to participate in the community and be a part of the shows that we have like this. So now obviously I have the I have the recent survey up for people to give feedback, and I just glanced at it quickly before we started the broadcast.
I've read it, yeah.
There's some good stuff in there. But was there anything that was brought up to you guys directly that you want to mention right now, maybe that stood out so far in the rooms?
I've heard it time and time again this age that people really want that force declare. We didn't expect SAPs, you and I, did we, to get such a people wanting it that badly, and even it's in the survey too that people are mentioning it. So that's been an interesting one. I've heard a few people obviously say to me they want race and personality back, or they want it more defined, but that's nothing really new to me. What about you, FFW?
I think the general consensus is that everyone's just getting tired of being war-gated, and everyone just wants to get wars whenever they want to.
Mm-hmm.
And that's always been the utopian dream, right? It's you want that. Phoenix is saying combo, keep it race, and add in a race and purse with it. Oh, that's interesting. Mixing them both together somehow.
Double race and perso.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm not gonna be doing that. That's way too complicated, especially for everyone else.
I'm also gonna pass on that.
Yeah, it seems like we have enough trouble sorting out when it's just a simple race or race personality, especially when we started stacking things. People seem to have trouble with multiplicative things, so I think that would just confuse it so much more. There's definitely, what we have right now is definitely something that we can work with, I think, whether we go with the race or race personality. But right now, I'll just open up the floor quickly to anybody who is currently listening live, other than Phoenix, who posted that question just now. If anyone has any questions, feel free to raise your hand and let us know, or just shoot a quick message in one of the general channels. I'm kind of keeping an eye on things as best as I can. But anyway, let's take a quick look now at this survey that I threw out there. We're just going to go through some of the responses that I got. It seems like on average most people are having a mediocre age, but on the opposite side of the spectrum, it seems like they're actually more people have responded. They're not having so great of an age. Looking at the what people prefer now, we only have limited responses because it does take time for these surveys to get answered, and not everybody has a moment or takes all the time required to participate in these types of things. But we did have the survey out before where race personality seemed to be a winner that people wanted to go back to. But looking at it now, based on the responses, it looks like people are are in the same position. You know, it's about the same ratio. About 55% want race personality back, 44 or 45% basically want the race to stick around. Some things that could be changed for next stage based on, you know, what people have written in here. Bring in some sort of forced war mechanic or a better way to lean on people. Well, there you go, Benji. That's exactly what we were talking about. Keep the honor-free Dryad out of the game. Seen it before with War Hero as well. It can be game-breaking too easily. Keep a more viable pure rogue in the game. This must have been Phoenix here. 2 races and a personality. Bring back age 92 gnomes. More variety of races.
There's a lot of gnome requests in that survey I've seen.
Yeah, more variety of races that encourages more varied gameplay. That's one of the things I was kind of thinking of. Like, it would be nice to, you know, because with the race, it's a little bit tough to guess. A little bit tougher, I think, to guess what people are playing. But still, there's a limited number of possibilities. It would be nice to have like more options for attacker, more options for rogue. How do you do that? I'm not sure exactly to make them very different from each other, but I'm sure we could come up with some way to do that. Unilateral war declaration, forced declare, there we are again. Make race more of a race instead of a, wow, that's a mouthful. Instead of a race personality, it was basically changed to race personality this age. Oh, that's interesting. Combinations that can be used to play any type focused or balanced hybrid, heavy attacker, super mage. This is kind of what we're talking about. Jack of all trades to accommodate for all kinds of playstyles. When it comes to Jack of all trades, I kind of think of like the dwarfs or like that, like some kind of artisan dwarf or something like that would be like your Jack of all trades. Attack times, I guess people want faster attack times. That would be nice. I mean, 16-hour or 14-hour attack times, whatever they are, base is pretty rough. More ways to war, honor, overhaul, decrease base attack time. There we go. Make intelling easier. I've got to say, guys, intel's pretty freaking easy as it is. I'm not sure how you could make it much more easy. Just don't try to take intel from your core on a TM. That's the best advice I can give you there. More options and a few new spells. That would be cool. More races and personalities. There's that option. There's that one again. Implement an auto war finder. People play to war, and currently a lot of time is wasted playing chicken, dodging, and dirty plays. That would be interesting if everyone, you know, clicked a little box or something and they agreed to let the game pick a war for them. That might be something that's plausible. I don't know if that could be coded, but that is an interesting idea. Provide kingdoms with the ability to force ceasefire once a certain percentage of books have been taken away, say 10%. That's also interesting. There have been too many times that KDs have been away for days without recourse or ability to escape. Benji, that sounds familiar. Forced wars, forced ceasefire should be applied to Bruised Kingdom. I probably quitting because I got learn times 8 in 12 hours from Shit Kingdom, especially Warbirds. Well, someone's upset with Warbirds. It really ruined the gameplay, knowing we can't win and still bottom feeding us. Time to hang up the account after all the bully from War. Wow, someone has really had a bad time with Warbirds.
What are you doing, Smiles, man?
Yeah, is Smiles requesting to talk yet? No, he's keeping quiet.
I'm just
he's keeping
obviously
quiet.
stirring some.
Well, I can say for certain that there is recourse against Warbirds. Just press learn.
Yeah.
Learn them. I mean,
Yeah, heading back.
I was pretty much semi-retired, and I didn't want to, you know, tell the whole world that what I'm playing. So when Smiles has forced ceasefire at me, I kind of want to taunt him, but I let it go.
Oh, great.
But I should probably taunt him.
Yeah, here we go.
Yeah, let's bring Smiles in.
Smiles in the house. Here we go. Welcome.
I think he
Smiles.
must be honoured that he's made it into the survey specifically.
I'll just keep reading some of the things while Smiles takes a moment to figure out his microphone. Unsure, but we need something different or back to some old changes. This age has left formerly great warring kingdoms losing their butts this age, and weak kingdoms winning. Well, that's interesting. I mean, look at pirates, for instance. They've had great success this age in terms of like their actual war numbers and wins. Continued balance changes to work to make the full PB.
Well, I don't really agree with that on the statement on pirates.
I think the
Because,
difference is, I think the meta changed this age, like quite drastically. I think some people adapted to it quite well. I think, even, more established KDs, did struggle with the change. And it did draw to, FFW and our attention some things we might have to think about for next stage in terms of changes, what we do. But there's also, I just think the Pirates one, is a bit of, you got to be a bit careful to look at that one, because at the end of the day, I think people choose to take the button on something of a 90% size. That's their decision. I don't think it's a part of the game problems or anything like that.
Benji, let's be honest. The war win chart is not about the number of war wins you have, it's about the number of war wins points. And sadly, Pirates, even with 5 war wins, are not at the top of the chart. They're not even number 2.
Yeah, and that's
why you have to press those 120% buttons.
That's it, Smiles. The people that press those 120% buttons, if they manage to win.
I would say it's 140%.
You can lose them too. You just get more war points for your next win.
And there you have it, folks.
Not exactly true, Smiles, because losing actually gives up a point to the winner. So you will be forever behind.
Well, don't lose to the person who's ahead of
you. Easily said than done.
Easier said than done.
Yeah. Add forced war button. There we are again. Always could be changed something. Okay, for the love of God, get rid of race thing. Well, that person wants race personality back. I don't know. Slightly higher science bonus during end of war ceasefire. Didn't we just scale that back a little bit this age? With reward, quick war begin again like before. I mean, I like that. I agree with that statement. Undead as a personality rather than a race. I always liked undead as a personality more so than a race, because then it allows you to like mix and match any of the races that already exist, which in the fluff would actually make more sense. Race personality, there's another specific request for race personality. Relook at honor, bring back personalities. Race reduces flexibility. So that's the end of what could be changed for next stage. However, let's move on to what do you like about this age?
All right. Since we've got Smiles and his microphone working, so Smiles, what would you like to say to the community, as from the survey you're nominated as this age's big bully?
I'm a bully?
Yeah, let me just go back.
Who did I bully?
And
did you not hear your little survey comment before, Smiles?
Here. So where is it here? Okay, forced ceasefire should be applied to Bruised Kingdom. I guess that's the whoever's taking the hits. I'm probably quitting because I got learn ×8 in 12 hours from Shit Kingdom, especially Warbird. I wonder if this is Jas writing this. It really ruined the gameplay, knowing we can't win and still bottom feeding us. Time to hang up the account after all the bully from Warbird. Jeez, whose feelings did you hurt, Smiles?
I don't know. I didn't ruin anybody's day. They're just wrong. I don't think I've double waved anyone this age, except for somebody who broke a war deal.
Oh, it could very well have been that person.
Well, they shouldn't have made me grow and then back out of war.
I mean, we did make changes to force ceasefire at this age.
Yeah, we
try and
there were some good
make
changes.
things a bit better. So I'm surprised by that comment, because the previous age it would have been even worse, as we've experienced personally ourselves.
Oh, absolutely.
They don't even know how bad learning can get. With all the orcs this age, you can bounce raise someone to about 10% defense really easily, and then quad learn with all your humans and TMs.
Isn't that what you did, Smiles? Where's Mansoor?
Yeah, I did it to Mikey. I'm surprised I haven't gotten Raise killed yet.
Jeez, that's pretty aggressive, Smiles. I like it.
So you can take about a third of somebody's focus in one wave.
Wow, that's rough. Especially since books are already so hard to come by this age compared to others. Some notes here from Phoenix on the side here about some things we can change. He's saying combo... Oh no, wait, sorry, he already said that. The best change this age was the war scores being removed. Also, I'd like reduced end of war ceasefire again. It made it more challenging and fun. I think a lot of people have been talking about a reduced ceasefire as well. That's another thing that keeps coming up again. People kind of like that 3-day one.
I'm going to comment on the reduced ceasefire because we kept it at 96 hours precisely because we wanted people to have some downtime, and reducing it from 96 to 72 actually just benefits top kingdoms, and middle level kingdoms tend to struggle with the change in preparation time. So that is one aspect of the annual ceasefire that we really didn't want to change for now.
We've done it before where we did move it down and just it exactly made that problem. FFW, the top KDs were able to adapt really quickly to it because it wasn't too much of an issue, whereas then our mid and lower tier KDs really struggled because of it. So when it comes to end of war CF changes, where we think very carefully about what that looks like.
And here's a message from Candy now on the DM saying, let's not reduce end of war ceasefire during the summer age.
Oh yeah, summer is coming up. Me personally, I like to go on a holiday since restrictions are lifted too. So
yeah, I think a lot of people
there's still too much gold in end of war ceasefire. I've seen a lot of kingdoms coming out with more than 3 dragons of gold, and it's just like, what do you do?
Well, one of the
especially with so few strong thieves this age, I guess probably is affecting that a bit.
You know what?
One of the things that we can do about that, Smiles, Win, and Benji, one of the things we can do is we can make elites more important, which would cause people to spend more money on elites. Because right now, people aren't treating elites that importantly, and they are not actually.
More spec dumping.
Yeah, and they're just basically training specialists for no reason.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that is something we might need to consider, actually.
It is absolutely something we need to consider for next age.
That would be an interesting fix, and that would definitely solve the gold problem as well. Let's see, what did people like about this age? Balance feels pretty good, maybe the best race age in terms of balance, not maybe for fun. TM struggling with pure for about the right amount of time in my opinion. Dwarf is decent, someone likes massacres, races are fun and still balanced. Balance between pure blood and half blood combos, that's good to hear. Not a lot, well that person's not happy. Ritual change up, I did like that, ritual change up was pretty cool. Got to give you props for that one, guys. More balanced race approach with lots of options, I really like that, and I have to say that there were lots of options this age. No gnomes, so that someone doesn't like that. Or did like the fact that there was no gnome, sorry. It's over. Well, it's not quite over yet. I like the race gives way more diversity. That's interesting from the other side of the spectrum. Universities protecting science. That's cool.
It's interesting because when just going to say the comment that we had earlier in the survey talked to, we had the race was feeling a little bit more defined in the race perso, and now we've got people talking about, there was more options. The reality is that if you were to properly look at today, at this age changes, it does look more, maybe race, but it is very much in that race perso in terms of where we kind of headed with the changes this age. So that's why we were curious to see what the feedback was from the community in terms of, are people wanting race perso, race, and seeing what the feedback is. So I think it's interesting to hear the actual feedback, what people are saying.
Yeah, and you know what, I think that is something that was discussed previous, like in the last age as well, that kind of people wanted the age, the races to kind of more closely mirror like a race personality type of combination, and I think that's what we got this age. Some more stuff here. Warring, that's good. Strong attackers, more fairly balanced, well-balanced attackers. Race seems to be well balanced, though I prefer a Stinger Rogue, but admittedly they were OP last age. Not much. Less turtle defensive TM and more attacking on both sides, so we want more hybrids. Nothing diversity of picks. It does feel like the kingdom compositions are more interesting than in past ages for attackers mostly. I have to agree there for sure. There's definitely a lot of attacker options, and it's really hard to just single a province out and be like, oh yeah, they're for sure an orc or an orc avian or something like that. No undead, no plague. People are happy about that. I like the general idea of making pure TMs less essential. Not sure if it totally worked as intended, but it seems better. Races, no plague everywhere. how chill it has been. War, new rituals, and hidden war score is good. So it seems like, I would say, people have pointed out most of the changes here, which is kind of good. So it's good to see that they're recognizing these things, and it's what they want, basically. So that just goes to show everybody, the more you comment and give feedback and things like that, the more you have a chance to actually influence future ages. Did you guys want to say anything about what you guys liked specifically about this age before we go on to the dislikes?
I think attacker balance is in a really good spot.
Let's see if Phoenix has a note here. It looks like Phoenix wants to modify, or says to modify elites you would need TAE or drop conversions. Alright, we'll leave that one on the table.
I just think, I mean, it's a good point. We could remove conversions. I don't know if necessarily would do that. I think we have to think about that. I think in terms of what you were just saying before, the things that I liked, I think the ritual changes was really good. It really changed things up. I think, as we've talked about, we're hoping to do some dragon changes in the next age, so we'll see how we go with that.
Sweet.
I'm very well for dragons. I think we can safely say we are making a complete overhaul of dragons next age. So I'm pretty excited to see what the community thinks about it once the proposed changes are out.
I'm very curious.
And speaking of next age, DAVIDC was hopefully going to be on this call, but I don't think he's actually going to make it for the show. But I just wanted to drop a little tidbit for everybody listening and everybody who's going to listen to the show after the fact. David reached out to me and he mentioned that we're going to start dropping some like Easter egg kind of spoiler type things on the social media platforms coming up in the upcoming weeks and months. So definitely keep your eyes open there, because some interesting spoilers are going to be dropped about ages to come. And good news, the app is actually reaching some form of completed state where users will actually be able to start using it. So enough on that. Let's move on to the things that we disliked about this age. So let's see.
Attack. I'm just looking at attack times again. Yeah. I didn't expect that to be such a big one, actually.
Yeah, I mean, I personally kind of like the attack times, although I found that it always, like with the longer attack times, it always like fell when I was sleeping, so that wasn't so great for me.
Just gonna say this because like FFW and I have spoken about this lately, because obviously I've been seeing the feedback that's been coming in around attack times, and he brings up a good point to me always at the end of the day, is we also have to bear in mind, if you reduce the attack times, you put more of a burden on the player to be able to show up at times that may not be obviously convenient, as Wind. So it's one of those things we have to be very careful, and changing attack times, while it might be simple on paper, what the impact is across all the other changes, it's very big. So we just have to be very careful about that type of change.
Phoenix says,
and I'm going to be perfectly honest, I don't want to run more than 2 waves an age. I mean 2 waves a day, basically.
Yeah. Leaders have got enough to deal with, yeah.
Seriously. From Phoenix in DM, attack times help even out utilization of attack power. Leave that one on the table. Let's look at what people dislike about this age. See next age change. People don't listen. I mean, that's kind of a normal thing worldwide. Gnomes got removed. No undead. No gnome. People are really feeling, I think from both sides, people are happy that gnome and undead are gone, but also not happy that it's gone. No gnome. It's also been hard to find KDs that the right acreage and number of provinces for war. Interesting. No one's really complained too much about that because ever since we had the change where it's auto-filling the kingdoms, even still I've seen so many 10 versus 10 wars or 10 versus 15 or whatever. So there's still plenty of wars happening out there, regardless of how many provinces you have and the acreage. I mean,
we did say we were going to bring back undead next age anyway, Wind. So we will be.
Yes, Yes, we'll confirm right here on this podcast that undeads will be back next age.
Yep.
Sweet. That's good to hear. Looks like we just had another response while we've been talking.
Unless the
this.
community has extremely violent reactions against undead.
I think people are happy to have the break from the plague, but at the same time, I think it's such an important.
Well, if we have the same sort of TM attacker balance we have now, I think if you add in undead, you're going to have some issues.
I think you're right, Smiles, and we are thinking about that from a TM perspective also.
Yeah, because if you think about the plague and it reduces your defensive efficiency, I mean, that takes away from those safe TM positions and really just allows you to get hammered down. Same with your attackers still, though. It looks like, as I said, we had another response. It looks like the last person to voted race personality. They also said forced ceasefire is dumb. What they liked about this age is the war score was gone. I don't think they actually put a comment for that one. And then we're still going down the dislike things here. Where were we here? Yeah, okay, so no gnome, orcs and TM nerfing, so they're not happy with orcs or TM nerfing. No forced war, so there's no more forced war mechanic. I mean, we're all pretty upset about that. The fact that they changed race to almost reflect old race personalities, they didn't like that. But I think that's kind of what the community was kind of talking about, as I said before in the last stage when we were talking about potential changes. So that was actually a change possibly made based on community feedback as well, guys. Ops and spells are not powerful enough. Thieves get nerfed. Many kingdoms ditched rogues. I don't know about that. Attack times, it began. Seriously, race.
I think rogues were in rogues were in a bit of a tough place this age, but I don't think it's a fair comment to say that they were unplayable, because they were definitely playable. I think, but we will look at rogues a little bit in terms of tweaking it.
Playable, yes, but just not optimal. That's
not
all.
Optimal.
Well, Ulf is just so much free magic this age. It's going to be real tough if you want to play a pure halfling to not get everything. You're just going to be barren from ETs, and if you don't get some honor, it's really a struggle.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Let's see what else we got here. Lack of undead. Didn't like the race balance. No comment. Orc too OP. I wouldn't say so. TM nerfed. Orc is strong, but maybe not too OP. TM nerfed too much. Pure TM are unrealistic. TM needs more defense. Currently, they have to be hybrids or they get wrecked every war. I would say that's not entirely true. It seems that winning an out-of-range war still gives a war win, which it shouldn't, in my opinion. I mean, I think it should, but you still don't get the war points, I think, if I'm correct. So as FFW mentioned before, you could have all the war wins in the world.
Historically, all right. So historically, so when historically people used to get war wins from out of range wars, so that is still the case. The only thing that seems a little off about this age is an excessive amount of points awarded for war winners of out of range wars.
Oh, okay.
Historically, we gave only minimal points instead of now apparently maximum points.
Oh, sweet. Okay, maybe I read that wrong. Let's see here. Nobody wants to war. I mean, that seems like it's always a problem. Every age, people are saying that. NS, it's kind of stupid where our away army can be NS, should only target at home. Oh, wow, here's that Warbird thing again. Warbird, bully, small kingdom tactic, and getting free war win from Emirati. Despite, well, this is really detailed. Despite Emirati is 65% bigger and chose to lose the war, even though they can play 5-day to auto-win with 60%. The fake war, the bully Warbird. Don't know how many fake war they have to just get a war win.
Wait. How does Emirati get blamed? How does Emirati get a blame? Emirati is not even playing this age.
I wonder.
They just assume the biggest kingdom's Emirati.
Yeah, I think there's some mistaken identity going on here.
They're talking about how I trounced Swea with my mad skills.
Oh, that's pretty funny though. Unis are protecting your
Oh,
books.
don't kid yourself, Smiles. Monster just withdrew because he got tired of you. You didn't win. He just got tired of you, and he wanted out.
Yeah, well, see, that takes skill. Mansoor doesn't get tired of things. He gets angry and vengeful.
Oh,
Alright,
that's
keep going,
funny.
Wind.
Alright, Unis protecting your books from learns is catering towards kingdoms that do science pumps the entire age. Trying to think. Wait, I do that every age. No one has Unis in their build thinking of protecting their books except growth and high TM count kingdoms. To be honest, when I bring in universities, even with the last change, the last thing I think about is the book protection. I'm expecting to make more learns every age than I'm expecting to be learned. So that's kind of the mindset I go in with this. Towards this. A little disappointed that TMs aren't that interesting. It seems like TMs are pretty much the same thing. Also, finding wars is hard. I mean, it's always been hard. I mean, you have to beg for wars, basically. Even waving up, people always want the best possible scenario. Force war button would have been nice this age. Hopefully it has continued to have been worked on since the idea was originally proposed. So how about it, guys? Is that button going to show up sometime in the future?
Just to be clear, Win, we are definitely looking into the war gating issue, and we have several ideas around mitigating people dodging or people not being available to war. We have some ways of mitigating it, but we are still testing the concepts in the Changes Council.
That's good to hear. And I'm pretty sure the community will be happy about that as well. It's not like this is Tinder where you can just, kingdoms are all up on the screen and you swipe left and right for war. I mean, wouldn't that be easy? All right, the Dryad bonus. Oh, sorry, someone put here, harder being TM. I think that's just kind of part of the game. Like, the game shouldn't really be too easy to play, otherwise it would get boring. So, I mean, you need to balance it a little bit in both directions for TMs and attackers every age. Otherwise, if we just played it the same every age, we probably have 0 players now. The Dryad bonus to income, food, etc. feels like a nerf compared to the barren land creating those last age. Overall, it might be a buff this age, but the old mechanic helped when it was really actually more helpful after being chained in war.
Dryad this age have done pretty well, to be honest with you. I think they've surprised a lot of people how well they've done. I don't know. I mean, we can look at Dryad, but I don't personally think that was a big issue.
No, I think Dryad's doing well. Certainly the ones in my kingdom are doing well. Science pump and end of war ceasefire. They dislike that. Okay. Probably because you get less books. No science bonus during end of war ceasefire and not hard enough. 25 provinces, kingdoms, reduce province cap. Okay, someone wants a province cap reduced. Too chill, need more players, do more publicly to attract players. That's what we're working on. No war, not enough race variations for core. I thought we had tons of race variations for core this age. The power of having button for declaring war feels unbalanced. And community management. Tom, I hope you're listening. Was there anything?
It's always been like that.
Oh, burn.
The button problem has always been a real problem.
The problem is a big issue, we know.
Yeah, something which we do realize, and we are looking at how we can adjust the power level of button.
Yeah, absolutely. Was there anything that stood out for you guys that you disliked about this age? I mean, 2 of you were responsible.
I think I underestimated race bouncing a bit too much. So, credit to Smiles for play testing into the extreme. So that's certainly something that we are gonna look at again for next age.
Thank you, Warbirds, and it certainly shows on the feedback too. Let's see, what is there? If there was one thing you would change,
I think rituals aren't quite there yet this age.
Yeah, they definitely, with the changes, I mean, there's definitely some working to be done with it, but I think it's...
Just going to pause on that actually, Wind, because I'm curious from Smiles' perspective actually, what would you want to change, Smiles? Like, what is that? Because obviously that was our first iteration of those new changes.
I mean, I think they're just a little bit. I think they just need a bit more tweaking to get that right balance. I like the flavor of them all. I think your Barrier and Havoc are in a weird spot. I've seen one or two Kingdoms run Havoc, but I don't think they're the best writs right now. And I feel like you got 3 offensive rituals that all feel kind of similar.
Okay, good feedback.
Also, I think you just use Onslaught all the time, unless you're honor farming. Like, I have seen Godspeed's X-Pro, of course, has been used a lot, but I think both of those writs just don't really compare to Onslaught for most of the age.
I think it depends on your composition. For instance, for you, yeah, Onslaught appears to be the best because you're running Pure Blood Orc, for instance.
Oh, right.
And
go ahead.
And maybe someone running Avian or Dryad or Dwarf would prefer a different ritual compared to Onslaught. Depending on the playstyle, of course.
Well, X-Pros only kills in Honor, so which is just Honor in the end of the day, because 10% kills. And when everyone has the exact same speed, it makes Godspeed awkward, because if you're only 10% faster than other people, it's usually not in your advantage. You need more separation than that, or the early war chains are actually favored for the slower kingdom.
And Phoenix says Godspeed with Orc Smash and Grab is a good combo.
It's really not.
I was gonna say I'd still go Onslaught personally on Orc on that.
All right, and let's see. What
well, and just the wages are worth so much. Like on offense is obviously your best bonus to attackers because that's what an attacker is. It's a whole bunch of offense. But then your wage bonus as a secondary effect is by far the best secondary effect any ritual has. It's so powerful.
Yeah, absolutely. I like wages.
Though I think people are not using as many stalwarts as they should. I think a lot of people that are complaining there's no good pure TMs just aren't building enough defense and running stalwart and sending a ruby. That's how you used to have to play pure TMs. People just got complacent when TMs were really strong.
Yeah, it made the game too easy. Let's say.
What are conscious of time on the next one? What people would change?
Yeah, what people would change. Phoenix says, and what he changes make the age longer. Someone wants a science planner similar to the building planner. 1% more will increase science bonus by percent. That's interesting. Did I read that right? Yeah, okay. Anyway, let's move on to the survey. Make it so I can actually find wars. Make the ages a little longer. Bring gnomes back. Add a new race that focuses on ambush. That's interesting. Ambush is already pretty sweet considering you get half the acres pretty much no matter what, and it takes like, I don't know, 7 or 8 hours or whatever most of the time. So it's pretty sweet already. I'm not sure how you can make that any better without making it too OP. Add freak mechanic on one of those races, so that would definitely mix something up. Move back to race personality, add forced war, bring back revelation.
Ambush is actually, sorry, Win.
Yeah. Ambush is terrible and needs a buff.
It is absolutely terrible.
Well, when you look at like my reasoning behind that.
So yeah,
like
I'm gonna stop you here because me and Smiles concur on this. Ambush is absolutely terrible because 1, you only get half the acres. 2, you basically
Cutting out a bit there, Wind.
Oh, it's actually
Ambush is bad because for a lot of reasons.
Yeah, you have no honor, no credits, basically. Yeah, no honor, no credits, a very big negative for Ambush.
The way I look at it.
No honor, no credits. You don't sync. You're not chaining anyone when you're ambushing them.
The way I look at it, ambush, it's kind of just like an extra thing. Like, you know, after I've already marched all my offensive specs, and then I just have some.
Did we lose Win?
Let me just double check here. Hold on a second. Yeah, you know what? I just have a bad connection right now. Just give it a second, and it'll be back. Damn you, Discord. Oh, well, it's still recording anyway. Hold on. Wow, it's really bad right now.
I think the major
but ambushes aren't even cheap anymore because there's so much defense on elites and everyone has really high OME. So you've got two things stacking against ambush just for the offense.
You forget spec army, Smiles. Spec army too. It's expensive to ambush.
Yeah, that's.
I think the main thing that we're seeing at the moment with Bush is that really it's only place, and FFW Smiles or Win comment here is that you're chaining somebody and they have massive gains. You might bush those, obviously, those acres to limit it. They're incoming, but apart from that, most
hang on, Benji. Except the meta hasn't been overpopping like that anymore. It's always been desertions, army out. So
even then, like I was gonna say, it's not that great. It's still better than trad.
Yeah, the one.
Yeah, ambush is really, really bad right now.
Like I said, the things that stand out for me for ambush are, it helps you get a few acres back. So if you are overpopping, that army comes back a little sooner. There's a little bit of a bonus there. And again, as I said before, once I've marched all my specs on a regular march, ambush is kind of just that extra thing that's like, oh, what do I do with my extra 10k offense? Well, I'm going to get back.
You actually don't want your army back earlier than your main army, because when you get chained, guess what? You have like a portion of your army sitting home deserting even faster, so that's a no-no too.
It's usable, but it's not optimal.
Yeah, absolutely. So, is that something you guys are going to look at, possibly making some race maybe a little bit more ambush friendly, or buffing that in some way?
I think we don't have any plans to touch it for now, because we're
touching on many other things at the moment.
We have other priorities rather than looking at ambush.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, let's definitely.
We've just got too much to do right now.
Let's definitely keep that on the back burner, though, because I think since both of you, or all of you, basically pointed out that it is pretty weak in its current form. So let's save that for future conversation, future ages for sure. Smaller and more kingdoms, too few 25-man kingdoms now. I mean, we're working towards a better...
Can anyone even remember the last time they cast Anon?
Oh, by accident, I think.
Not in a long time, Smiles. Not in a long time.
You know when your phone screen's really small?
I did. I remember because I asked people to do it.
I have seen some people who make really big attacks, and they use anonymity just to secure those acres, because they're just doing a quick wave, and they don't want they plan on ceasefiring after or something, and they don't want to lose all the acres.
I think anonymity is mainly used by micro kingdoms now, so those who are actually competing generally don't use anonymity because it's awful, minus gains. Sure, you can't get ambushed, but who cares? Minus gains, no honor, and everybody knows
it's mostly an out of war spell.
Yeah, it is mostly an
when you're doing randoms, you don't want to get bushed because it hurts your elites. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you don't get honor, so that's a big minus.
Yeah, you don't really get honor out of war, anyways.
You do. You get plenty of honor, actually. When was the last time you got a TM of a Marquis honor or a Viscount honor?
Yeah, I wave people. You get like 1,000 or 2,000 honor if it's a really tasty wave. And that's not nothing, but now you're 10% bigger. And it's just there's an honor to land ratio that you need to coast on.
Alright, what else you got in here, Wind?
Right, someone said honor, give us personalities back. So a couple of people have mentioned they want the honor system revamped or relooked at. Give us personalities back, different dragons. We're working on dragons.
Frozen again, Wind.
Oh,
yeah.
Also, that's another use of the raise bounce.
What's that, Smiles? Let's see. Different dragons. I think we're going to see different dragons next age, or at least revamped dragons. Bring back personalities. A lot of
but I think everyone's just tired of the the automatic. Okay, I know who am I fighting. I'm just gonna press this dragon over and over again.
Yeah, absolutely. Here it is. Add a war matchmaker. Lost.
Go for it. Just let your connection stabilize a bit.
Yeah.
Obviously we can see here, War Matchmaker is another request again. Option to force CF after a certain amount of books have been lost. So force CF once again, forced war, force CF. Oh, this is a long one, a good one here.
Well, I'm gonna call a spade, Benji, because the only reason why learn waves are a thing is because there's no other reliable way to force a war.
We both know that. Smiles knows that. You know, top KDs will use it as a soft way to force war.
Yeah.
So,
I don't wave more than once. Unless,
you know,
I'm annoyed.
Unless you've pissed me off, or done some shady, then yeah, exactly that, Smiles. Then you go back a second time. We've got Force CF should be enhanced. The within range mechanism is forcing players to quit, especially when they were waived by several yet can't force CF due to within range, and result other people just learning waves for a few days. This is fairly unfair to those who badly bruise kingdoms and being constantly bullied by others, especially Warbirds, Emeretti, the typical bullies. And players get frustrated and quit. Force CF should be included whether if the defender didn't commit any offensive attacks or ops and granted to the Force CF after 24 hours, so they, brackets, Warbirds, can't exploit by doing learn waves in weaker kingdoms. The action by Warbird and Emeretti will only accelerate more people leaving Utopia because of the bully tactic and fake war method. Well, that was a long one, guys.
I wonder if Mansour...
I think everyone just falsely assumes that number one land is Emeretti. When Emeretti doesn't play every age.
They hate us because they ain't us.
Smiles, you're being too mean, apparently.
I don't know, I feel pretty nice.
So shall we create an award for this age? Bully of the Age award goes to Smiles.
I'm pretty sure it goes to 6-3. They're the only kingdom I've seen learn wave the same kingdom like 4 times in a row.
Wow.
Seems they're paying it for a moment.
Maybe they got annoyed, just like you.
Here we go. Committee consisting. Oh, here we go. They want more people on the committee. Age council. We are looking at potentially putting some more people on the committee in the future. Okay, so that is something we're thinking about. Bot improvements plus data access changes in general. Okay.
That's
something we're currently working on as well, but it's a little ways out.
There is something I want to clarify though. The changes council doesn't get special access to formulas, data. We just, we reverse engineer and we do a lot of guesswork in estimations.
Then we ask David a lot of questions and confirm it with David. So
yes, and he won't exactly tell us everything 100% either, because he keeps the war score formula completely secret.
Correct. What else have we got here? Ranged force war mechanic again. People want science pumped back into End of War CF. I'm not sure what that exactly means. I'm assuming what the bonus or something. I
think people wanted the books back in the extra books generation, which I'm not too... Well, I don't really support it, but I do think that we should increase the war win bonuses for books, because right now it's pretty low. That's
a static way to do it. Yep, once again another person said reintroduce science bonus. Into our CF. Automatic cancel on all other external dragons started against ours and our opponent KD when we start a war to prevent shit play. It may sound like we're being whiny, but this is to prevent more people from rage quitting a game that is already going to die out. We need to retain as many players as possible to keep the game alive.
I think this came up quite a bit last age, and I believe
I experienced it.
I think the response that we got from Jeff last age was do better Diplo.
Yeah. I know. That's the response I got.
That's a really viable thing, though. Some people just don't.
Council can make massive changes too to kind of fix this problem. I think Diplo is always going to have its place. I think we do have to realize that there are just some KDs out there that don't want a Diplo and they just don't care. And no amount of changes that we put into the game are going to change that.
You can't change the human the human-free decision.
Exactly.
You can't do that. So, no matter what rules you put in place.
Exactly. So, we progress over perfection is where the council's heading towards. I understand people's frustrations on it. I have personally received that problem last year as wind knows from last age. But, we just do what we can with it. next thing, attack speeds. People want that changed. Maybe bring back a proposed war on pre-agreed tick as another option. Think about the access to ops and damage from ops being phased in, like attack time reduction, so it's not an op fest in favour of the person who has button. That's an interesting one. Thoughts on that one, FFW, Smiles?
Well, whenever you have a proposed war where both sides get on at the same time, it's always going to be an ops fest. No, even right now when we have, a soft agreed war, I wave in, you wave back, and you press the button, everybody's ops just goes to the ops fest.
Yeah, and I mean, the game, there's not too much I don't think you can really do about that.
One of the things that we are looking at, however, is changing these buzzer beater mechanics and making it more strategic in nature rather than who presses the button first.
That would be cool.
Next one, remove the force ceasefire, replace with severely diminished gains based on the meter for the KDs. That's an interesting
Sorry, Benji, that one I'm not in agreement with because we really need force ceasefire.
I think it has its place.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Because if we remove force ceasefire, then we're gonna have quite significant challenges to regulate the relationship between the bottom and the top kingdoms.
Yeah. And then the last one we've got is avoid outside war interference. Dragons relations block once war starts. Look, I mean, we're seeing a bit of that play out at the top now at the moment, so any comments?
I think force ceasefire has one flaw in that the ceasefiring kingdom, they can hit up to the edge of hostile and op and all that. But what that causes is that you have to wave people a lot harder. You're not going to wave them, you're not just going to throw 10 hits on someone, because they can throw 9 hits back and then ceasefire. So it does mean that when you wave someone and you're expecting a force ceasefire, you have to go really deep, or else it stops being worth it.
Let's see, Ulfald says buff human. He also says last anon was a misclick and I had to intra to get rid of it. Wouldn't call those KDs the top. I guess that was in response to
I think Smiles, you raise a good point though, it is true. But at the same token, if a KD tries, if a KD decides to retaliate, and obviously the aggressor is trying to get action or a war out of it, but the defender doesn't want war but wants to try and play around. I think it's reasonable to expect in that situation, personally, that the aggressor is going to go deeper, because they want the relations to either result in war or close out. And I don't think it's unreasonable in that situation for an aggressor KD to try and, if they have to, wave once or twice because the defender doesn't want to play ball but wants to drag things out.
Absolutely. Does anyone else currently in the audience right now have any questions or feedback or just want to say anything in general? Feel free to raise your hand or type a message to me, a direct message, and we'll get it on the air. I'll give you guys about 60 seconds to do that. In the meantime, this podcast has been going for about an hour, which seems to be about the normal thing for these types of things. Was there anything else you guys want to touch on in the meantime while we're waiting to see if anyone in the audience wants to ask any questions?
I think we kind of touched on most of the things. I mean, like we said, looking at that mechanics around, the force war and all that again, as it's not a simple thing, but we are looking at options for next stage potentially. We'll put that out to proposed to see what the feedback is.
And just before we close, Benji, guys, you can pretty much look out for proposed changes within the next 2 weeks. So it will definitely be quite in advance of age closing.
Yeah, we're ahead of schedule at the moment anyway.
Well, this is actually...
We are not. We are exactly on schedule, Benji. We are not ahead.
This is actually...
We were behind last week.
This is actually a good response that was just added just now. What could be changed for next age? Would love to see a return of the mechanic that you would have to die to become undead, gain undead trait. It could be a single buff debuff that you can add weight plus or versus minus. That's one I don't see very often. Less turtling, more hybrids of TMs was something they'd like to see, or what they liked about this age, what they disliked. They didn't post, and they didn't post what they would change.
I don't think we want to encourage race killing to become undead.
Yeah. As we promised, the other highlights, Undead will be coming back next age in some form or another. We did say that, so we will be doing that. We are rehauling dragons, as FFW has said, so expect some changes there. We are obviously looking at changes overall from a race perspective, trying to make a little bit more finding of roles, but also still give that flexibility for players. Just trying to remember if there's anything else I've forgotten. FSW.
A soft force war. Yeah.
Soft force war.
Yeah.
Probably maybe make some tweaks to ritual. Maybe,
we are definitely making tweaks to Barrier and Havoc because they just appear to be completely useless right now.
I think that's kind of it for at the moment, but while that doesn't sound like a lot, I think you will see a lot of changes in next age changes, and we are, as we said, we're on schedule at the moment, but yeah, please do give your feedback when we do release them as fast as you can, so that we can have a look at what that looks like, if we're hitting the mark or not.
And feel free to everyone
Best
out
picks,
there.
worst picks of the age? Anything surprising?
I mean,
Avian.
And again, feel free for everyone to fill out that survey. Keep filling it out. We'll keep an eye on it as the age goes on. So be sure to keep mentioning things. And what I'll even do is I'll add a secondary category to that survey for everybody once the proposed changes have been released. That adds some additional questions so you can give a little bit more feedback in there as well and change your answers.
If there's any questions, I think we're done, Wind.
Yeah, I think that's everything, unless you guys had any last minute things you wanted to say. I'd like to thank you everyone for joining me tonight, everyone in the audience and everyone who joined early, and of course to all of our regular guests who we always see at most of these live casts. Thank you so much. We can't do this without you guys. Thank you again, FFW, Smiles, and Benji, for joining me today. I hope you guys have a great day or great night. For me, it's past 11 p.m. and I work in about 6
Maybe
hours,
we'll,
so I'd like to
create a new crown, the bully crown, Smiles, for you this age.
I've been really reasonably nice this age.
Are you sure? You
You sure about that? Because we're not hearing that.
Did you even see me in the ages where there were undead?
I did, and you bullied me. Yeah, I must say that you bullied me.
Yeah,
you also
those were good ages.
Those
You
were
bullied
good
me this age,
ages.
Miles. You hit me twice. I mean, my heart's broken. I thought we were friends, but you hit me twice.
Awesome.
So you
Swinging.
So you got what when coming for you. I mean, what comes around goes around, right?
There you go.
Hey, you waved me for way more bucks than I ever hit you for.
I think on that note, we're going to finish this cast, Wind.
All right, guys. Thanks for joining, and special thanks to everyone in the community. Have a great night, everyone.
All right, have a great night, everyone.
Bye now.
Chip, chip, cheerio.